You have the two images. Okay, you can see my screen, right? Yep, many object here, many object here. So sometimes if you use 3D Manager to compute the colocalization, we need to add this image and then add this image and do the colocalization. It's like colocalization this object with all these objects here, a lot of zeros, so you go crazy. It will take like days to compute. So if you just want to quickly compute colocalization, I'm not sure exactly the same algorithm and is in Diana, but this one is quite good. 3D multicoloc. Okay, so I have here, sorry. Yep, 3D multicoloc.
The same, but the result table is different.
Yeah, so all this thing is a simplified version of 3D Manager, Diana, and everything. It will just do one thing. Image A is this one. Yep, image B will be this one, and this one. Result only objects that are colocalized or all colocalization, but you see maybe all colocalization, that means all possible pairs. So it will be like millions of possible interactions. So we just want only colocalization. And then OK. It may take some time to compute. And that's it. So for each object, from A, you will see. So this one is the reference is a image object in a image A. So for each object of in image A, so this is image in image A with the ID 1. So you see each object have an ID. This one we colocalize actually with nobody in image B. This one, object 2 in image A, will colocalize with object 2 in image B. So here it's actually B2. It should be B2 actually. And the volume of colocalization is 3 voxels. So between the object 2 in A and the object 2 in B, there are 3 share voxel between these two objects. So that means it's 0.02 2% of object A that are colocalizing. And this object 2 is also colocalizing with object 3 in image B, and so on, and so on and so on. This one, yeah, and you will see some object. So of course you have like 3,000 lines, and maybe we want to. There is one object colocalizing with 5 objects. Yep, I saw it's a bit difficult. Maybe you need to do a bit of macro programming to check which one has okay.
Or use Excel.
Yeah. So yeah, which one has so this one just for a biological point of view. So first image is like a pre-synapse. The second image is a post-synapse. So that means when pixels are colocalizing, that means there is a synapse. On the point here, you can see with the colocalization here, some pre-synapse may colocalize with more than one post-synapse. So they share like, okay, I go with this synapse and this synapse and this synapse. So it's kind of crazy. It's like one synapse is shared with different presynaptic elements. So you have the same result as Diana. You have the same thing for distances. You have distances, 3D distances. So 3D distances, image A, image B, always the same thing. Image A, image B. You want to compute like for all the object in A, I want to see what is the closest object in B. The first closest object, or maybe the first two closest object. And I want to see the center distance, for instance. If I put a border distance, you can see it's a bit slower to compute. So we just focus on the center. So that means we will find the closest based on center distance, right? But from these two closest, based on center distance, we may compute the center distance, of course, and also the border distance. The Hausdorff distance, look at the documentation. It's a bit more advanced. So you have the same kind of information. So object in image A, the closest object in the image B is object 3484 with a distance of 0.8 in Macrometa. The second closest object from object 1 in image B is 30010. Is the distance is 1 something, and so on and so on. So here's exactly the same. So here the distance is the border distance instead of the center distance. But of course the closest objects are the same. So it's just a way to do. You can use like graphical interface like 3D Manager or Diana, or just if you know already what you want, just use this kind of plugins. So maybe we take the rest of the time to, if you have question, or we have a lot of things to tell you, but I'm sure you have also a lot of questions.
There's a question about macros, so you can introduce.
Yeah, okay, let's do one macro. Yeah, I like macro. No, I don't really like macro, but I have to say that I like macro. So for macro, so if you want to do macro, the easiest thing to do is the plugins macro record. Plugins macro record. It will record what you are doing, right? So first we open the first image. Then we open a second image. Yep. Then we want to measure like the, I don't know, the volume of in the first image and the volume in the second image. So I select the first image. Plugins. So I can do the same macro record in a 3D Manager, but if you already know what you want, just go for the simple plugins. Like I would just want to measure the volume. So 3D geometrical measure. Okay, so I have the result for the first image. I can save this image. Save as result result1, .csv. I select the second image. I do the same geometrical measure. Up. File, save as, result for the second image. Yep. Okay, I'm happy. I close everybody. File, close all. Okay. Happy with this, just for a start. And then create. So here you have an history of what you did. I open an image and open another image. I've selected the first image, run 3D geometrical measure, save the result, select the second image, 2D geometrical measure, save the result, close everybody. Create. Yep. So I create. This is the macro. This is your first macro. If you never did any macro, you can do it now. It's just a record on a create, open image, blah, 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 blah. So if I can just run this thing. Okay, let's do it. It will open the two images, do the measurement, save, close the image. Okay, done. So it's quite good. So usually you don't want to measure always the same image, right? You want to do measurement on other images. So if maybe you want to open one image, you just put open like this. And then something very simple, save as, okay. So we open an image, we do the measurement and we save it. So maybe we just want to save with an interesting name. So the problem now it's more data organization, data management. So we open an image, we get the name of the image, we do the geometrical measure, we save as result with the name of the image, title. plus
the path, I think.
yeah, the path we see later. Just, you will save anywhere, but just to start. Title plus yep, result.
I'm not sure it will work.
Well, just have fun with macros. Okay. So this is our first stupid macro. Open an image, get the name of the image, do some measurement, save the result with hopefully the same name. Okay, run. So I select an image. Up, I do some measurement and I save something somewhere. So sometime, yep, I'll see it will save in the same. No, no. So this is something I don't like about ImageJ. There's one default folder for saving, and I have no idea where it is. So this is one thing I don't like about ImageJ. We save things, but where? Don't know. So okay, so we should be able to do this. So where is this stupid directory? Directory of the image. It's a get directory, right? Get directory, blah blah blah. Get directory. This one. Return the path of the active image. So this is the one I want. So I know now I will save as the same place. Directory plus. Okay, we'll do like this. Slash. If you're on Windows, maybe you want something else. Okay. Inside the directory of the image, I will save the thing.
No.
No. No.
Title is in.
Yes. Right. Only this thing is. Yep. Plus title. Yes. Directory is just a slash to separate the folder, the name of the image, result, blah blah blah. Run. Select my image. Zoop. Tup. Nanana. Save somewhere. Yeah, good. Save at the right place.
Good.
So if you want to do the same thing for like intensity measurement, you will need to open two images. One with the object, the other one for the raw data, and do the same thing. So do you have something else you want to do? You have some ideas or no?
I have a question.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier, I might have missed it, but I think you mentioned that it was possible to have a list of 10% of the shortest distance between two objects or something like this?
Yep. So this is what I wanted to do, the EVF. So EVF, so DF, yep.
What does EVF stand for?
Yes. We'll explain. Thanks. So for the EVF, I will try to see, a nice image. Is it this one? EVF example.zip. It should be this one. Yep. Ooh. No, maybe we need to unzip this thing. Maybe I need to unzip. I didn't know what I did. Yes, I need to. Yes. It's just because I was not sure to have enough space on my Dropbox, so I zip everything. So maybe later I will re-zip again. So EVF, this one, and this one. But you can use any image. You can use the nucleus if you want. So this one is a big image with a big structure. And I have another image with some spot. It's not so very clear, but I want to see if the spots here, this is not the best image, but it seems that we have a bit more spot on the periphery than in the center. So this is not the best example, but this is the kind of thing we want to see. And here the worst thing, it's quite impossible to detect all the spots. But basically, we want to see if we have more signal at the periphery or at the center. So this is why we will use this EVF thing. So for EDF, you need a binary image. You need one structure like this. Okay, and then just run this thing. So EVF, it's hiding in a distance map actually. It's just a normalized distance map. Maybe I should change the name, but it's here. 3D distance map. So you can open this image or you can open like the segmented nucleus image. So EDT, here we have EDT and EVF, right? So EDT is Euclidean distance map. It will compute for all the pixel, all the voxel, the distance to the border. So we will have a map and the value of the object will be the distance to the border. So the image is yep. I need to rename this image so I'm sure what I'm doing. Yep. Image rename object. 3D distance map. Okay, the image is object, the mask is the same, no problem. So we just stick to this. So EDT will be the distance map. EVF will be the eroded volume fraction. So the best is I do the thing and then I explain on the image. It's a bit complicated to explain. So here we will do both the distance map and the EVF. Okay, so I select both image, this one. Okay, and see what's happening. Yep. Oh, may take some time on this one. So maybe use the. Yeah, maybe it was a bit too ambitious on my computer. If it's too slow, I'll just use a smaller image. Just okay. Yeah. Are we patient enough? No patience. Sorry. Yeah, it was a bit really too ambitious. Just to explain, I don't need a big image. So, okay, sorry, I come back to a simpler image. My simple nucleus, right? Okay, we do the same thing. Plugins, 3D, pretty distance map. Yeah. Okay.
Both.
Don't do two. Yes. Yeah. So okay, yes, you're right. Plugins, 3D, distance map, both. So maybe I'm not sure you can hear some music. Is the neighbor below practicing violin? I'm not sure you can hear. So this one is the distance map. This one is the EVF. And this one is my image object. So let's go for 35. Yep. Okay. So start with EDT. Usually we use this kind of thing. So now the value, this one is a map. So each pixel has a value. And you see next to the border, the value is very small. On the yellow, the value is very big. And the value is the distance, Euclidean distance to the border. So here we see actually in the nucleus we have two holes. So that means it's a border. So this is why you have these two holes here. So if I'm here, the closest distance to the border of the nucleus, it's this one. So maybe this one we may need to fill the holes if we don't want these two holes here. So this thing is quite interesting. You can compute the distance map either inside or outside. And if you have any object or spots, you check the value. If I have a spot here, I do quantification. I will see that the value inside this image is 2. So I know the spot at this position is at 2 micrometer from the border of the nucleus. So I have an intensity of my image, and the intensity is not a fluorescence intensity. The intensity is the distance. So it's a bit strange. It's not a fluorescence intensity, but the value of the intensity is the distance. So this one is the distance map. So what we do for the EVF, we just normalize. So we go from 0, from the closest voxel to the border, to 1, the voxel farthest away from the border. So we just normalize between 0 and 1 all the voxels, all the values. So we get something like this EVF. So you will see, of course, it looks similar, but you may see that the ratio between different colors is a bit different because of the normalization. So here we can define some layers. So now the value is 0.97. So that means this one is like the more than the 95% of pixel farthest away from the membrane. If I have this one, 0.16. So this one is like the 20% closest voxel to the membrane, and so on and so on. So if I just take like a threshold, if I'll take all value between 0, yep, and 0, 1, yep, sometimes this thing is a bit, for 32-bit image, sometimes a bit annoying. Yeah, very annoying, yes. Okay. Stupid thing. Okay. Okay. So now I have the value between 0 and 0.13. So here I have the all in red are the 10%, 13% exactly, pixel closest to the membrane. Okay, this stupid thing is not working for 32-bit images, but this is the ID. If I say okay, 0.5 and 0.6, that's I think we need to check this thing. It's not working very well. Yeah, it's I just go crazy.
Can we convert the image to an 8-bit image then, since everything's between 0 and 1?
Yes, but if you convert to 8-bit image, you will get the value 0 and 1.
Sorry.
So,
sorry, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a bit tricky. Eventually, you can multiply by all the value by 1000 and convert to a 16-bit image. You can do this kind of thing. So the value will be instead of the value between 0 and 1, you will get the value between 0 and 1000, or 0 1 if you don't want so many accuracy.
I think it may depend how you convert, but automatically we'll try to maintain the histogram. So I think that if you go through image type 8-bit, then you will keep every value that was 1 will become 255, and anything that was 0 will become 0.
Okay, so we try. So first I duplicate in case it's not working, right? Okay, keep a copy of this one. Up, image, then I just reset this thing. I'm tired of this thing. Let's go to image type 16-bit. Just to, or maybe, okay, we try 8-bit. Okay, so the image is the same, but now, but now it's a bit more, maybe the accuracy is a bit lost, but you have the same ID. So now it's instead of 0, 1, so the first 10% should be like 0, 25, this kind of thing. So you need to convert also the percentage. The 1 is 255, the 0 is 0. So you need to convert a bit your percentage. So it's just to show you in threshold. So some 0, 25. Oh, I just cannot stand this thing. Maybe this image adjust threshold. usually is not as crazy as this thing.
It's strange.
Yeah, just sometimes you just okay, I just go crazy. Okay, you do, huh? You play with this, like this, zoop. The problem, yeah, 0, so maybe we just need to put 1. Yes, okay, better like this. Image lookup table, maybe we go back to gray, else we don't see anything. Okay, we do again, yes, zoop, okay. Yes. So it's just for visualization. If you want to do some measurement, I will suggest to use the original 32 bits image. So the same, if you have a spot, the position of the spot, you look the value inside this EVF image, and you will get 0.2. That means this one is 20% closest to the image. And you can use this to get the distribution of spot within the different layers. So we use this EVF usually like this. So now we have spots, and we compute for each spot this the EVF value. Then you plot an histogram, so you have an idea if the spot have like a EVF close to 0 or close to 1, or like everywhere between 0 and 1. So you have an idea if the spot are close to the membrane or the surface, something quite robust and accurate. If you do this with the distance, it's not so accurate. With this normalized distance, it's more accurate. So a lot of people do the layers based on the distance. It's absolutely wrong, actually. If you want do some layers, like if you want manually do some 2-3 layers, do on the EVF, not on the distance. So if you just want to create 2-3 layers, you can just threshold. So this one, okay. You can 1 to 25 and 25 to 20. So that means if I go from 0 to 25 and then 25 to 50, I will get the same volume, the same number of voxels from 0 to 25 or 0 to 0.2, and then from 0.2 to 0.3. No, sorry, 0.0 to 0.1. I will have the first 10% pixel. 0.1 to 0.2, I will have the 10% pixel, and then to the 20% pixel, but I will have the same number of pixels, right? So the layers are the same number of pixels. So it's more accurate than the distance. If I have a distance from 0 to 0.1 and then 0.1 to 0.2, I may not have the same number of volume between 0 and 0.1 and 0.1 to 0.2. So if you want to have, you must have layers of similar volumes. So you must use this EVF. Okay, is it quite clear, more or less?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know which of you has this tube thing. So you can do the DVF outside. So just to show you, but it's exactly the same idea. Plugins, 3D distance map, blah blah blah. Just both inverse. So now you will compute the EDT outside the object and the EVF also outside the object. I think there's a problem with the EVF outside.
There's no value.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong. I'm not sure it depends because of the image or the computation is wrong or the version. But it should not be like this. So now you have the same thing but outside. So the value of the pixel is the distance to the border, but for all the pixel outside. So if you have spot outside, if you have your tube, and then you want to compute the distance from one spot to the tube, you can use your tube, compute the distance outside, and then after for any pixel, you have the position. You do some intensity quantification, and you have the distance to the tube. Yep.
All these distances will take into account the voxel size.
Yes. all the distances are in a unit, micrometer, nanometer, whatever unit you have. Okay, something else. Do we have what kind of image we have? Okay, maybe I try to. Okay, I try to. Sorry, I'm a bit stubborn. So I want to go back to this one. So I will just scale the image in XY to have a small image. Okay, so now the computation should not be so crazy. Okay, Slack, bye-bye Slack. Quit Slack a bit. Come back later. Thank you. So I have to also scale the other image. Image scale 0.5, 0.5, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yep. So I want to do the EDT and EVF on this image. Plugin 3D distance map. Now I just, okay, both. Blah, blah, blah. So I need to rename. Else I'm not sure which one I'm using. Object. Plugin 3D distance map. Both. Object. Okay. Okay, now it should not. Oh, my computer is so lousy. I didn't know. Yeah. Yes. No. So now we have the distance map. Okay, so we know this thing. Image lookup table. Fire. Just we are used to do like this. Okay. On the EDT. A bit strange this thing. I don't know what's happening. I need to check again what's happening. Fire. I know. I know why like this. Because when I scale the image, it will create like it was before. It was a binary image, so it was only 0 and 255. When on scale down, it created additional pixel like here. So this is why it's a bit strange here. So okay, we have some time. Let's do it properly. So just a live demo. So you see all the things you need to take care. Okay, sorry. I think I'm a bit tired also. So image scale, do it again. 0. Okay, I'm just making a very small one. Interpolation none. Voila, this one. Just uncheck this one. I don't want like additional. I just want 0 to 55. I don't want. Okay. Okay, scale. Wow.
You did 25 instead of 0.25.
Yeah. So I think I'm very tired. It's 7. I just okay.
Well,
just bear with me. We finish with this.
There is a question from Elizabeth.
Yep.
We want to know how to extract and analyze object surfaces, and we mentioned some processing. Yeah.
Object surfaces like we did in 2D viewer. So there's something here, but I will not recommend to use this one, a 3D mesh measure. So it will convert the 3D binary image to a mesh that we saw in 3D viewer and do some analysis on the mesh. So, but this one is quite slow, and we don't really use this kind of thing. like a smoothing. It's more like a 3D viewer thing. In the 3D analysis, we focus on a binary image, not really the mesh as we see in a 3D viewer.
Can I just ask, no, just
Yep,
like
please.
how you actually extract the surface? Do you like take like an edge detection and then count the number of voxels which are on the surface, or how do you do it basically?
Yes, okay, sorry. So your question is more like structure bin final, this one. So and then I do the border or compute the surface or whatever. So what we compute is like all the voxel inside the object that are touching the background. So this object, this voxel is not touching the background, is not a border, is not a contour. This one is inside the object, but it's touching the background. So this one is counted as the contour of the object. So we count all these objects. So you can see it's kind of a step. And actually we may want something more smooth, like for the surface. So this is why the raw surface computation is very not so accurate, because of all the steps. This one, the corrected surface, may try to smooth a bit everything. But the computation of surface for this kind of object is very, very difficult. Yeah, please ask your burning question. More question? Not sure I play with my thing. Yeah, I still have this additional thing I don't want. It's okay. I do a binary. Image adjust threshold, zoop, apply, blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, more or less. Plugin 3D distance map, both, stuck, distance map, EDT, okay, EVF, good. So now I want to open the other one, the spots. I do the same scale thing, 0.25, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now I have I have this image. Image adjuster, we finish with this EVF of this structure, some spots. Or here we don't have individual spots, we just have signal. Or we just want to check in the different layers where is the signal. So we just rename this image like signal. Okay, so this one is it's here, 3D EVF distribution. So you have plugins 3D EVF distribution. So the steps. So how many layers you want? So I want layers every 0.01. So we'll have a layer 0 from 0 to 0.01, a layer from 0.01 to 0.002. So like actually every 10%. So the EVF image, it's called EVF, good. The signal image is called signal, that's good. I want both. We see later. Okay, so I will create 10 layers. On inside the 10 layers, I will compute how many signals I have. So this one is okay, density. So we see for all the layers. So actually, sorry, it's not 10 layers, it's 100 layers. Sorry. So I have 100 layers. In each layers, I will compute how many pixels of signal I have. So you can see I have more signal for the layers with lower value of EVF than signal with the higher value of EVF. So my signal is more at the periphery of my object than at the center of the object. but sometimes when you look like this, it's not so obvious because you have so many signals. But here you can see some space here actually.
Okay.
So it's not so easy to prove. Only with this EVF analysis, you can be sure. So this one is kind of, yeah.
Sorry. So basically, the plugins for fish analysis, they do basically the distance map and then the EVF distribution mostly.
I don't know what kind of fish analysis you're
I mean,
referring
sorry.
to. Yeah.
I mean, you know, basically like the image that we have. So here we have all these spots in the Nuke.
Yep. So yes, basically
Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
If you want to have an idea if the spots are at the periphery of the center, you have basically if you're not using the EVF, you should use the EVF. If you just use the distance, it's a bit wrong. I don't want to say, but some paper are a bit wrong. I don't want to say bad about some people, but some people did some wrong analysis. So if you want to have an analysis, a correct analysis of where are your spots, you should use the EVF. Okay, I think we will close this tutorial soon. Some last some question? Yeah, maybe I stop sharing my screen and just say bye-bye. Okay. Okay, just Yurik is everybody just went to sleep. Yeah, no, just kidding. So thank you for attending. So the idea of this tutorial was both to show you, maybe for you it's more like so now you know what kind of question you can ask from your images, on what you can answer, what plugins you can use to answer your question. So there's the basic question of just volume, the number of objects, the volumes, of course the intensity, distances, EVF, this kind of thing. So we kind of survey of many quantification you can do within the 3D. So I think the most difficult part for you is to ask the right question. What kind of question you can ask on some, I hope that maybe now you have more questions you can ask from your images. And I hope also you have the tools to answer this question. Last comment or last question? Everybody happy?
Yes.
Put a yes. Everybody happy, put yes. Just
I have a last question about the EVF. So you should, the signal should be a binary image, right?
Yes, it can be a binary image or already a label image. It doesn't matter. It will work in both cases.
Thank you.
Only 3 people, yes. Ooh, I'm disappointed. And I think, yeah. Yes. 16, I think we may lose 1-2 people. It's okay. It's okay. Losing 1-2 people is okay. It's not too bad. Thanks a lot. So in the Slack, we can continue asking questions. So we know each other, so maybe it's easier to ask question. In the image.sc forum, you can ask question about image analysis in general. If you put the tag 3D or 3D Images Suite, I may have a look and I may reply because I know this kind of topic. Okay. Thank you very much.